Hello, everybody. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about a new program that we are slowly rolling out to our customers. We're calling the Digital Will and Legacy Planning. And it's interesting because I came to the realization for the need of this type of a service or product after reading a story about a couple that had lost their 35-year-old daughter unexpectedly, and they were caught in this horrible place of not knowing any of her passwords, not knowing what she had out there in the digital space that they would need to address, close, and memorialize. There's all types of different options. And I thought that since a bulk of my customer base are older adults, it applies to them as well. Even more so because as a lot of us have expanded our digital landscape, our digital presence, what happens if we got hit by a bus tomorrow or we found out that we have a terminal disease? There's other things you would like to probably do other than have to worry about who has your passwords and who knows what subscriptions you have on renewal, etc. So over the last couple months, I've helped. Have had help putting together a workbook that I'm introducing to my customers, and the whole product or program is about engaging with you, helping you figure out all of the different categories of your digital life and how you need to find the documentation about the how to get into it, where it's located, any special notes on any of these. It would be about putting together a password program for you so we can take the Excel spreadsheet or the notepad or the sticky notes and put them in a way that can be safe and that can be shared to a executor or somebody that is not the executor. It can be called the digital executor. So it's not unheard of to have maybe two different executors, one for traditional and one for digital. So I'm going to share my screen because I think this will help me show you a little bit more about what we're talking about. So this is a marketing flyer that we've developed. And you looking on the left-hand side, you can see that a traditional will covers your wishes. A digital legacy plan helps your family carry them out. So we're basically saying that we're going to help you organize the technology side of your life, so loved ones are not left guessing and then get locked out and then are overwhelmed, especially during a time of loss or emergency or illness. So you might ask, what is digital legacy planning? There's a whole upcoming industry on this, and I've been reading up about it, and I think that there's a good amount of my energy that I'm actually going to be putting towards this on top of the tech support services that we offer. But I just realized is that everybody should have this. Everybody. There shouldn't be one person, even myself, that should have a document like this that's updated maybe annually. And we'll go through that a little bit more. But it's really about, again, making an outline of all your digital life and everywhere that you are. So why does it matter, right? So we want to protect your memories. There are a lot of people that have thousands of photos that they've taken, throughout the time that they've had a digital camera or a sophisticated cell phone now, like an iPhone or an Android. So where are those memories? What do you want people to remember? Do you want to make a folder maybe that tells the story of your life, or maybe since you've had your phone, you pull out you tell a story. And also, again, it makes it easier for family during an emergency. So we're not having to guess what your passwords are, maybe where your medical records might be kept. And big part of it is it prevents locked or inaccessible accounts. So we all know that, you try getting into an account a few too many times and you will get locked out. And it's almost impossible to get a hold of anybody at Apple that's going to unlock your significant other or family member's account. So also, it spells out any bills and subscriptions that might, not be known. Could be subscriptions to magazines, to anything that that you've got, Seattle Times, anything that needs to be shut down, where a card is automatically being charged on a monthly or annual basis. And again, it just reduces the stress during an already difficult time. So just continuing down the page, we these are the kind of the service buckets that we're working with, and this is all kind of this program is living and breathing. So the early adopters of the program, we're looking for feedback, but essentially, it's getting this worksheet, this workbook done that we've created. It's an Excel spreadsheet that we would help you get this Excel spreadsheet done. It then gets password protected, and that password is shared out with family members or the executor. And it will clearly spell out all of these areas that we're going to get into next. And what I will do at the end of our time is that we will try to set up a meeting a year from now where we can get together on the phone or in person, have you open up that spreadsheet and make sure that nothing has changed. Maybe you've lost some accounts, maybe you've added some accounts, just making sure that you're doing this. So the way that the process is going to work, we'll talk a little bit about that. So we're thinking so far, and we've now done this with about a dozen people, and again, we're learning through every one of these engagements. But we're thinking that we get together, we kick off the process, and so that could be an hour, could be an hour and a half, and during that meeting, we're going to go through and make legacy contacts for your Apple account, if you have a Google account, Gmail account. If you have a Facebook account with an Instagram account, we can memorialize somebody, we can set up a legacy contact, and there are a few others out there that are important because think about it. If you have an iPhone and you're in the iCloud, they have your contacts. Most people are now using Apple passwords. They have your photos, they've got your documents. So it really is having a legacy contact will get your executor into everything. And the same with the Google, right? So if you have a Gmail, perhaps you're using the Google products. So that would be another thing that we would want to make sure that you've got a legacy person set up for as well. So after that initial meeting, we also set up the password program, which is 1Password. It's the one that we are recommending after evaluating 3 or 4. And I've got a discount. We've now affiliate with them, so I have a little discount on their annual rate. So and then we'll go through this workbook that we've created. We'll show you what it looks like. It is a very simple form. If you don't have any experience with Excel, 20 minutes of me showing you how to do it, I think you'll be an expert because we're not doing any formulas or anything like that. It's just filling in the different cells. And I'm going to make a little video on that as well, that when you want to participate in the program, I'll have a little video that will give you Excel 101, so you won't have any real questions on Excel. So moving on, I think once we go through that workbook, you're going to have some homework to do, right? And now this is going to vary because there will be some of you out there that are very comfortable with Excel, and you are fairly organized, and you're like, sure, I can do this on my own. Give me a month. Let me work on this, and then we'll make an appointment at the end of that first one to follow up. Part of my job during this whole process is to keep you on point and hold you accountable, where it's not something that you're like, oh yeah, I'll get around to it. I know I need to do it. I'll get around to it. That's what you're partially hiring me to do, is to keep your feet to the fire, keep you moving forward, and I'll be checking in with you periodically to see how things are going. If you are not very comfortable with technology, and there may be some folks out there that have not been around a lot of the Excel stuff, maybe you're in your 80s, that you might need a little bit more hand holding. So in that situation, we would make some time, carve out maybe a couple hours at a time, and just get into this workbook with me, with you in front of your computer or your notebooks or your files, and we together will build out this workbook and make it effective for you. So at the end of that initial meeting, let's say that you are going to take some time on your own and get this done, then we'll set up a follow-up meeting that will go through the workbook together. I'll call out any things that I see that might be troublesome or maybe completed more. We'll kind of tie a bow on the top of it. Again, make sure that that is password protected and properly stored in your computer, and the proper person has knowledge that this exists and where and how to get to it. And they might even have the file themselves emailed to them, because it's going to be an Excel file that they can only open with the proper password. So that's it really in a nutshell. So I'll go back real quickly before I wrap this up, and apologize for the length, but I just want to make sure that this is the long version of the program. So we're going to cover things like your email accounts, because most of the time we all have 2 email accounts at minimum. One for if you get locked out of your account, you've got a secondary account that you would need to use. We would take a look, document all of your online banking websites, your investments, any payment apps that you might have, like Venmo, PayPal. We're going to take a look at your cloud storage and file, making sure that all of that is properly organized, it's all documented. One of the things that you might do is you might make one folder that is, urgent or important folder, or upon death folder. That we have any kind of important digital documents that might exist. We're going to look at your photos and videos. How and where are those stored? Do you have any old actual photos and VHS tapes that you might want to digitize? I have a relationship with a couple people out there that we can take a shoebox full of old print photos and have them digitized and put on a external hard drive that would live for the next generation to enjoy. We'll make sure that we document your devices. I think it is actually kind of important to make sure that those are documented. We're going to talk a little bit about the passwords and the access strategy, subscriptions and auto pay like we talked about, social media accounts, medical records, any important digital documents that we talked about. Important contacts like your family, advisors, attorneys, any important service providers. And also here, I've had some folks want to put down people that they would like to be notified upon their passing. So maybe old friends or professional people. We would document all that down as well. And then finally, your wishes. What do you want the family to keep? What do you want it to close? What do you want it to share? This is important part of it all. So I think that's just a little bit of a snapshot into this program. I really encourage you to think about this. I think, again, we all need to do this. And it's something that I'm really enjoying. I've done it. I'm about to do it with my parents. I've started mine. I've communicated this even to my sisters, that it's really important to have a document like this. And I know that there are a couple programs that have been around this kind of throughout the years. But in my opinion, they're very cumbersome. They're overly complicated. They want to store, like, it's an app that you can store stuff in, but that's not yours, right? That's somebody else's. And if that was ever to get breached, then that's a problem. This is an Excel spreadsheet with a password. 99.9% of the people out there ain't going to get in unless you have the password.